Like the video and subscribe right now, and Seal Papa will let you pet him. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The dump truck from Cars 2 previously made an appearance in The Incredibles, 2004. In Pirates of the Caribbean, at World's End, 2007, Captain Jack Sparrow attempts to pull the Black Pearl all by himself. This is symbolic of Johnny Depp carrying the whole weight of the franchise on his shoulders and was worn out by the time Dead Men Tell No Tales, 2017, went into production. In the early days of the MCU, many actors had to go shirtless in order to save costs on the wardrobe budget. In Game of Thrones, Season 8 Episode 4, you can clearly see a Starbucks cup in one scene. This is a subtle nod to how the showrunners literally don't give a duck anymore. If you flip the title card for Venom 2, you can reveal the real reason the movie was made. In Tangled, 2010, the red circle is not reflected in the mirror. Shitty job from the animator's part. Son motorboats mom while his sister rides her. In Avengers: Endgame, 2019, Scarlett Johansson throws herself off a cliff so she doesn't have to be part of the girl power scene. The Little Mermaid, 1991. Ariel meets an African mermaid from the Ivory Coast. This is because mermaids are fictional and can be black. In Star Wars Episode 9, Kylo Ren receives a trumpet from Black Widow? What the duck am I watching? In Game of Thrones Season 8, Daenerys' last words are "We break the wheel together," which spelled backwards says "Retegatli we ht care boo," which doesn't make sense, just like the rest of Season 8. The Lion King, 1994, correctly predicted the entire plot for The Lion King, 2019. In Watchmen, 2009, a graffiti reads "Who watches the Watchmen?" This is a reference to me, as I'm currently watching Watchmen. In Morbius, 2022, the main characters uses their wolf form to win an arm wrestle competition for control of New Jersey. This is a reference to the fact no one can prove me wrong, because no one's seen this movie. In Watchmen, 2009, the patterns of Rorschach's mask constantly shift around and show various images of my parents fighting. During the filming of Jurassic Park, 1993, T-Rex was known to sweat profusely as it was his first major role in 55 million years. Vin Diesel's full legal name, Vehicle Identification Number Diesel, was the sole determining factor in his original casting for the Fast and Furious franchise. In the movie Don't Look Up, Leonardo DiCaprio is shown married to a woman who's in her mid-40s. This confirms that the movie is sci-fi, because it's impossible for DiCaprio to be with a woman if she's over 25. In The Incredibles, 2005, Mr. Incredible was captured with load increasing gravity molecular apprehender, Ligma, balls. The film 1917, filmed in 2019, is claimed to have been a one-shot movie. This is impossible, as there were way too many guns fired. In Independence Day, 1996, the dog Boomer survives, which makes him an okay boomer. Lincoln grossed over $275 million in movie theaters, which is ironic, since historically Lincoln doesn't do too well in theaters. Joaquin Phoenix chose this outfit himself for this scene, to pay homage to his all-time favorite movie star, McLovin. In The Order of the Phoenix, Dumbledore calls Voldemort by his first name, Tom. This foreshadows the fact that J.K. Rowling does not respect people's chosen identities. In Thor: Love and Thunder, 2022, Thor is stripped naked against his will and ogled at. It's okay to laugh because he's a man and not a woman, which would make it wrong. In Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, 2017, Dwayne Johnson's avatar did not have the power to read the map. This is because paper beats rock. In Dark Phoenix, 2019, it's explained that Quicksilver doesn't actually move fast, but rather slows down time around him. What I just said might be true, might not. You wouldn't know. You didn't watch the movie. Neither did I. In Aquaman, 2018, Amber Heard never used a stunt double. This is because she already had practice hitting men in real life. In Batman v Superman, in order to defeat a god who has super strength, laser eyes and can fly, Bruce Wayne does pull-ups. In the movie Pulp Fiction, the glowing object in the briefcase is actually Tarantino's N-word pass that he received from Samuel L. Jackson on set. In Wonder Woman 1984, Steve is amazed by an escalator despite them being commonly used in stores by the time he died in 1918. This is a reference to how bad the script is. In Bohemian Rhapsody, 2018, Rami Malek was wearing fake teeth because letting him wear Freddie Mercury's real teeth would have been unethical and really messed up. In The Rise of Skywalker, 2019, Darth Vader's destroyed mask is frequently displayed. This is a nod to Disney destroying Darth Vader's character arc. In Avengers: Endgame, Rhodes admits to Nebula he wasn't always like this, which is true. In Wonder Woman, 2017, Diana is able to get to London from her remote island in only a day because she is an Amazon and therefore qualifies for next day shipping. The Queen's Gambit is really great, and I'm also pretty sure it holds the record for love scene involving characters with the most different eyeball spacings. All of Chris Hemsworth's space scenes in Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, were filmed on Earth to accommodate the actor's oxygen dependency. In Arrival, 2016, Amy Adams tries her best to convince the aliens she is not the imposter human. In The Great Dictator, 1940, Charlie Chaplin used 2x instead of swastika to avoid getting demonetized on YouTube. In Madagascar, a white police officer asks if he can shoot Marty, a zebra. This is because the officer couldn't tell if Marty was black with white stripes or white with black stripes. In the movie Up, 2009, Russell has a round appearance. This is because he is obese. In Justice League, 2017, we see Ezra Miller lying on Wonder Woman's unconscious body. This proves that the movie is a work of fiction, since Wonder Woman is not a minor. In Mad Max: Fury Road, 2015, there is a character called the Doof Warrior that rides a van made out of amps while playing an electric guitar that shoots fire. I don't have anything else to add, but remember that shit. That movie duckin' ruled. Let's watch it. In Breaking Bad, 2008 to 2013, Walt Jr. has trouble hitting the brakes. He is Breaking Bad. In Iron Man, 2008, Iron Man is green because I'm colorblind. Star Wars actor Jake Lloyd tried his best in 1999's The Phantom Menace, and that's all that matters. In The Matrix, a kid tells Neo he has to realize there is no spoon. However, if you look closely you can notice there is a spoon in the scene. The reason why the dad in Pixar's Luca 2021 only has one arm is because considering that the movie is set in Italy in 1950, Disney needed an in-universe reason as to why he didn't fight for Benito Mussolini in World War II. In The Fate of the Furious, 2018, Dwayne Johnson says that rubber bullets were a mistake. This is because the guards should have used paper bullets instead to defeat The Rock. In The Force Awakens, Adam Driver kills Harrison Ford. This is a reference to the fact I crashed my dad's Focus. In The Big Bang Theory, 2007 to 2019, Elon Musk is shown working at a soup kitchen, presenting him as an individual that cares for the less fortunate. This is our first indication throughout the entire show that its events are in fact fictional. Christopher Waltz played a racist guy in Inglourious Basterds and a not racist guy in Django Unchained. This is a nod to the fact he is an actor. In Doctor Strange, 2016, Wong doesn't find any of Strange's jokes to be funny. At the end of the film, Strange makes a bad joke and Wong laughs. This is now because Doctor Strange is his boss. In Bullet Train, 2022, the main character, Brad Pitt, takes a bullet train from Tokyo to Kyoto, usually a 2.5-hour journey. In the story it takes 12 hours and gets called an overpass train. This is due to the fact that Americans don't understand the concept of high-speed rail. I'm Joker, 2019. Nobody laughs at Arthur's jokes. This is because he never says bazinga, so the audience knows when to laugh. In 127 Hours, 2010, James Franco is seen cutting off his arm to free himself from a boulder, although in real life James kept his arm. This is because James Franco is a coward who can't commit to a role. In Dune, 2021, Stellan Skarsgård did not use makeup for his role. Instead, he went through the enduring task of playing League of Legends for 5 hours to complete the body transformation required to portray Baron Harkonnen. In Avengers: Endgame, 2019, Thanos says I'm inevitable. This is a mistake from the filmmakers because he is actually Thanos. Despite being a walker, Paul Walker was cast in the Fast and Furious movies because the director couldn't get Adam Driver for the lead role. The final level of Black Panther, 2018, requires no inputs from the player. This is because it is actually a movie, not a video game, despite the visuals suggesting otherwise. In Men in Black, 1997, Will Smith points to the flashlight to signify, "Shit, I forget why." Inspector, 2015, James Bond says I won't be long. This is correct, as Bond remains at a normal size throughout the film. Despite receiving praise from both critics and viewers alike, the Get trilogy is still considered by most as the most confusing trilogy in cinematic history. In Black Widow, 2021, a BMW is shown to have functioning turn signals. This is to show that the movie is fictional and not based on a true story. The Fridge and Marriage Story, 2019, is the exact same model of fridge that I have in my house. The plot of Zootopia only happened because Judy Hopps racially profiled someone, which is an accurate portrayal of cops. In The Incredibles, during a standoff, Franzone wasn't immediately shot by the cop. This is because the face mask preventing the cop to quickly identify that he is black. Before the final battle in Morbius, 2022, Dr. Morbius prepares a weaponized anticoagulant, explaining that to bats, it's lethal. To humans, it's deadly. Who the duck wrote this shit? In 22 Jump Street, 2014, the famous line "My name is Jeff" was completely off script, as Channing Tatum was actually replying to a member of the crew who asked him to do an impression of the American financier and convicted Shrek's offender who did not kill himself in prison. In Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain America attempts to choke Ultron. This is because he is from the 1930s and doesn't understand what a robot is. In RoboCop, 1987, RoboCop kills numerous people, even though Asimov's laws of robotics should prevent a robot from harming humans. This is a reference to the fact that laws don't actually apply to cops. In the Batman trilogy, there were no crows. This is because Dr. Crane did a good job as a scarecrow. In Avengers: Endgame, 2019, which takes place 5 years in the future, we see Korg using a PlayStation 4 because the PlayStation 5 is still sold out. Batgirl holds the world record for longest director's cut, as it features over 90 minutes of deleted scenes. The same woman who appears as a background extra in this George Clooney scene in Ocean's 13, 2007, also appears in the background of a George Clooney scene in Gravity, 2013. In Dark Phoenix, 2019, Charles Xavier made his students wear an X on their chests so that the enemy would aim at them instead of him. In Forrest Gump, 1994, Forrest named his boat Jenny cause everybody be riding it. In Doctor Strange, 2016, Doctor Strange can be seen defeating his enemy, an apple. This is because an apple a day keeps the doctor away. In The Dark Knight, Bruce Wayne goes on a lengthy murder spree. This is a subtle nod to the fact I bought the wrong Christian Bale film. In Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker does not turn to the dark side. This is because Palpatine forgot to tell him the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. While most movies nowadays use expensive CGI technology to let actors appear younger, Saw 6, 2009, used the far superior method of Tobin Bell just wearing a baseball cap backwards in the flashbacks. At the end of Rise of Skywalker, Rey proclaims that she is now a Skywalker, even though she is a Palpatine. This is a subtle nod to the fact that never ever had any ducking idea what to do with her character. In Titanic, 1997, there are a lot of similarities between the old lady's story and what happens to Rose, implying they might be the same person. In the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy decide to rule Narnia. This is because they are British, and the country had not been colonized yet. Despite being unwilling to sacrifice Vision in Infinity War, 2018, to save the universe, Captain America sacrifices the lives of hundreds of Wakandians to keep Vision alive. This is subtle nod to the fact Cap is actually from 1930s America viewing the lives of black people as worthless. In the Harry Potter film series, the titles all include Harry Potter. This is a subtle nod to the name of Harry Potter, the main character of the series. In Frozen, 2013, Anna sings about how she is so alone, despite having dozens of servants that work in the castle daily. This is because royalty don't see staff as people, but more like a kind of mobile furniture. She would rather talk to paintings than to speak with Kay, a lifelong valet. In Harry Potter, the goblins are pale, ugly, have long hooked noses, and run all the banks. This has no implications of any kind. Not to sound like a repressed Victorian maiden, but I just noticed that in episode 1 you can see Mando's bare wrist. During the final scene from The Dark Knight Rises, Alfred is seen tilting his head forward slightly, and then tilting his head back to its original position. This is a nod. In The Dark Knight 2008, this man isn't actually part of the mob. He's just very dedicated to his 9-to-5 bank job. In Shaun of the Dead 2004, the entire movie is in Hindi. This is because I pirated it and downloaded the wrong torrent. In Cars 2006, Lightning McQueen shows his dishonesty early in the film when he states I'm speed when actually he is in fact a car. In Endgame 2019, when Hulk is about to snap his fingers, we see everyone getting ready for a possible blast, but Hawkeye has his bow drawn as if he's ready for a fight. This is a nod to how ducking dumb he is. In Skyscraper 2018, The Rock says, I won't ever forget this. This is actually a lie because everybody forgot about this movie. In Home Alone 6 2021, Jesus ducking Christ, there's 6 of them just ducking. Stop it stopped being good after the second one. Stop milking it. It's a 40-year-old franchise. Jesus ducking Christ. Disney. Why? In Spider-Man Far From Home, Peter likes MJ, possibly suggesting that he is heterosexual. To prepare to his role in Black Panther 2018, Michael B. Jordan was bitten by over 100 mosquitoes. The N-word was spoken over 300 times in the movie La La Land 2016. This fact might not be true, but who are you to say? You haven't watched the movie, that's for sure. In Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness 2022, Peggy was originally going to say the line "It's pegging time," but the studio removed it due to undisclosed reasons. In Castaway 2000, Tom Hanks is stuck on an island and befriended a volleyball rather than the cameraman. In Joker 2019, there is a scene where the titular character is sitting in a bus and staring out the window. This is a reference to the movie's biggest influence, the critically acclaimed Fred, the movie 2010. Encanto 2021 is a classic magical realism movie. It blends realism, like a traditional Colombian village, with things that are impossible, such as an Ebola admitting she was wrong about something. In Taylor Swift's 2015 song Blank Space, she says, I'll be the actress starring in your bad dreams. This is foreshadowing to her role in Cats 2019, which will give all its viewers nightmares. In the beginning of Joker 2019, there's a familiar face in the mirror. In American Psycho 2000, the restaurant Doja is mentioned several times, but never actually shown. This is because the film crew couldn't get a reservation. The CW Batwoman show has been cancelled after 3 seasons. That is a clever marketing trick, meant to remind the public that this show exists. In Joker 2020, Joaquin Phoenix had to live in Bulgaria for 2 weeks, so he would become depressed and play the role better. In the movie Joker 2019, you can see Arthur sitting in front of a mirror shedding a single tear while applying makeup. This is because he had just been forbidden by the director to write the word damaged on his forehead. In Hitman 2007, the final scene shows the moon, revealing everything took place on Earth. In Captain America, the First Avenger 2011, Marvel acknowledges the existence of Hitler in their universe. This would also mean that Hitler is eligible to be added to the list of top 10 MCU villains. In Big Hero 6, Aunt Cass's blouse covers her cleavage. This is because the animators didn't belong in horny jail. In Pixar's Up 2009, Carl and Ellie break into their paradise, Falls savings jar, in order to pay for Carl's hospital bill. This is actually a clever reference to the fact that the American healthcare system is literal garbage. This guy plays the same character in every movie, Hector. Let's play a game. Magic happens and one anime character can become alive. Which character do you choose? Featured comment. Pixel Lord. Me. Does nothing. Random sharp pain. Also me. Is it finally my time? If you want to be featured in the next video, use hashtag dankness.